Hello, everybody. I'm Adeline Ace. I am a second year here at Wartburg College, president of the Wartburg Players, as well as director of this play you're about to watch unfold. As director, I cannot tell you how excited I am to see this production day come, and I hope that you guys all enjoy it, as I'm sure you will. I just want to kindly remind you guys to turn off all your cell phones, or silence them more likely. Sit back, relax, and enjoy as our wonderful actors and actresses perform for you, Murder by the Book.
Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary, o'er many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping on my chamber door. 'Tis the ravens aside, nothing more. The hour, my good friends and colleagues, is midnight. The petty trials of the day have been won or lost, and the Raven Society can now be called to order to conduct its annual business. We work by night, the stars and moon guiding our way, unfettered by the mundane concerns of the day-to-day world. Ours is the world of night, and ours is the most serious duty, demanding our most careful attention. To this end, we have gathered at Dickens' house, cut off from the rest of society for 3 days and nights. Here, we will ponder the mysteries of the year, 382 mysteries to be exact, published in this country. One will be deemed the best and earn the Smoking Gun Award. It will be guaranteed an honored place on the library shelf after earning the author a fortune. The other will be deemed the worst, and a dagger will be thrust into it. It shall be condemned to obscurity, out of print its epitaph. But before we commence with the sacred charge, we must conduct our annual business. First, our roll call. We fully understand, of course, that our membership is secret even unto ourselves. I only know you as the author you portray. You only know me as Edgar Allan Poe. And I am present, as you can all plainly see.
We're getting dang tired listening to you.
Dr. Twain is obviously present.
Better or worse. And I still don't understand why I ain't allowed to smoke a good cigar. A bad one, for that matter.
Really, Mr. Twain? It'd be quite difficult for some of us to concentrate through a haze of blue smoke.
Everything you wrote, Mrs. Bronte, is a haze of blue smoke.
Mr. Twain was a vale of tears. First losing mother, then Maria and Elizabeth.
Who are those, huh? Your chow-chows?
My sisters, you hopeless boor!
Really, Mr. Twain, we must have compassion for such little women.
Miss Alcott, how could you come?
I wouldn't miss this for all the grapes in Concord.
At least you have some understanding of the human heart.
All you need, you English crumpet, is a good cigar to clear your thinking. Smoke pumping through your system will clear up that muddleheadedness and really heat up your furnace.
My thermostat is set on low, exactly the way I like it.
May I continue with roll?
Nobody said you couldn't.
As I was saying, Mr. Twain is obviously present, Miss Bronte is present, Louise May Alcott is here, and how is the family?
My sisters and I are well, thank you. And you, Mr. Poe, how was it with you?
I have my good days and bad days.
I know what you mean. When the sun is shining and the daffodils smile, we all feel better.
Those are my bad days. I long for night, dark and damp, a heart beating loudly, rapidly, lightning and thunder in the distance. Weather made to order for the Raven Society. Now, we haven't heard from Mary Shelley.
Please, I'm writing a letter to Percy. Dear darling Percy, love of my life, I'm ever so happy to be your wife.
My dear, I think you've created a monster.
Beware he who casts stones when he lives in a glass house, Mr. Twain. Reputation comes and goes like the tide.
Fame's vapor, popularity, and accidents, woman. The only earthly certainty is oblivion.
Well, that's not a very cheerful thought.
How about Sir Arthur Conan Doyle?
Someone called my name.
Taking roll, Sir Arthur.
Yes, jolly good show. Keep up the good work. To smoothing, you know.
And Miss Christie. Agatha Christie.
Right here, Mr. Poe.
Quiet as usual.
Listening, Mr. Poe, there is a difference. One cannot actively solve a crime if one does not listen carefully and speak only when necessary.
And, what crime are you working on?
The one that hasn't occurred yet.
I don't like it when you foreshadow like that, Miss Christie.
My dear, I'm just thinking of my next mystery.
Well, think away. That wraps up roll call.
But Mr. Poe,
Yes, Miss Alcott?
we're forgetting someone.
Oh, yes. I forgot again. I forget every year. Please forgive me. Miss Dickinson? Miss Dickinson?
I'll go get the old maid.
Don't let him, Mr. Poe. Men like him are the reason that she is an old maid.
Meritably challenged, I believe now, Miss Shelley. We want to make sure we are politically correct.
I'll go fetch her.
Each year, she seems to draw deeper and deeper.
Becoming part of the spirit world, I suspect. She does spend a lot of time with the dead.
I tell you, we're all going to be dead if we don't get on with this meeting. I got half a mind to call for a new scroll keeper, Poe. And we do keep things moving the way you ought to.
And you would, Mr. Twain.
After a good cigar.
Come along, Emily. You know everyone here. We're all your friends. Please come. We cannot begin with the meeting until you are present. Here we are.
Welcome, Emily Dickinson.
I'm Noby. Who are you? Are you Noby too? There's a pair of us, Dovetail. They banished us, you know. How dreary to be someone, how public like a frog, to tell your tale of a miry day to a bog.
Well, rubbish! That admiring bog pays the bills, dear lady.
I rely on the kindness of father.
We all ought to have been so lucky. Hey, Poe? You never did get fat on writing.
But I had my admiring bog. How the lady societies loved my recitation of the Raven. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary.
We're all weak and weary from hearing that blasted bit of so-called poetry. Get on with it, man.
Please sit, Miss Dickinson. I do say you look lovely tonight.
You know how we all love that night dress.
Who's she? Mary Shelley. She wrote Frankenstein.
I thought Boris Karloff did.
You Philistine! Boris Karloff? He was an actor. He never wrote a word in his life. I created the monster. I made it come alive. Alive, you hear? Alive!
Well, we're all clear on that now, aren't we? So we're all here. Let's get on with business. As you all know, we lost a dear friend last year when Jules Verne broke the cardinal rule and revealed his true identity, imagined he was part of the Raven Society, to a supermarket tabloid. We hope he's happy with the $500 they gave him, because he shall never be readmitted, and should he reveal any of our identities, the location of Dickens' house, or any of our secrets, Mr. Verne will be effectively
Out of print. But how can we make sure he never mentions the Raven Society again?
He won't.
And of course, he doesn't even know our real identities, so he can never reveal those.
Exactly. The outfit we have chosen to wear protects us from the prying eyes of the masses.
And from the danger out there.
Just as dangerous in here.
Then there you go again.
Don't mind my mutterings, Miss Alcott. The little gray cells are just working overtime.
So we lost Verne. Nothing much to cry over. Never could stand his parley-vous no-how anyhow. But now we're 8.
Oh, we can't have 8. An even number won't work.
That's right. Our vote might end in a tie.
But we have had an application. A copy is placed beside each of your beds and will go back to the meeting tonight.
That's very irregular. We should have received the application a month ago, so we could decide whether to pursue it or not.
Miss Shelley's right, Mr. Poe.
Well, I only received the application yesterday.
Well, that's highly irregular.
I agree. We have rules for a purpose.
T's not at 4, you Brits bing bong like Big Ben. I say, let's hear about this greenhorn. Ain't hurt.
I don't see why not either. Maybe he's nobody too.
So American. Can't wait. Got to do it right now. Take the cow by the horns.
Bull, Sir Arthur, take the bull by the horns.
Quite right, aren't you? Cows barely have horns, do they?
Sherlock Holmes finally figured that one out.
But do not mock my creation, for not one of you has created a character so ingrained in our cultural consciousness that many readers wonder whether or not he actually lived.
My Hercule Poirot was 1,000 times smarter than your Sherlock Holmes.
My Jane Eyres were the most tragic figures of all time.
Please, Tom Sawyer lives just as sure as you're standing there, Doyle.
Joe isn't exactly what you'd call chopped liver either! And my monster can beat up any of your characters any day.
Please! We've gone off on another about tangents. And while that's perfectly fine in normal years, this is not a normal year. We must have a 9th author in order to make voting possible, for never in our history have we awarded 2 smoking guns or 2 dagger awards.
Heaven forbid.
Let us forgo tradition for once and meet a potential new member.
The new member is here?
I'm sure Mr. Poe is just kidding.
Well, we've got to look over the application, then perhaps meet the new person.
Really, Poe, you want to endanger the Raven Society?
I would never endanger the Raven Society. I founded the Raven Society, and I'd rather die than see it harmed. But as the founder, I have taken the prerogative and invited a guest member for the weekend.
Leaving little room for discussion, obviously.
I'm afraid not.
Well, then bring forth this neophyte.
That we may put him under our scalpel.
Allow me to bring in our guest.
Seems pretty nervy to me.
You never know who you might bring in.
Could be a writer of pulp fiction.
Or worse, movies. I don't even want to think of it, but what if he hacks for television?
Oh, a grown man want to cry.
Such a little thing to weep, so short a thing to sigh, and yet by treat with these, we men and women die.
Not to worry. Allow me to introduce William Shakespeare.
For lo, what light through yonder window breaks? 'Tis the sun. No, 'tis you, my beauty.
Dear me.
I am your spaniel. Oh, I will fawn on you. Spurn me, strike me. Only give me leave, unworthy as I am, to follow you.
Mrs. Shelley's off limits, Romeo.
She's married. Poet fellow, you know.
What Percy doesn't know won't hurt him.
If I profane with my unworthiest hand this holy shrine, my lips, 2 blushing pilgrims ready stand to smooth that rough, tough touch with a tender kiss.
Why, you do know how to turn the little grey cells to mush now, don't you?
When we greet with eyes best seeing, heaven's fiery eye, by light we lost light.
Mrs. Bronte's taken too.
Shut up!
Well, Miss Dickinson's not married.
Oh, blessed night! Oh, I am afeard all this being in night or but a dream, too flattering, sweet, to be substantial.
I'm nobody. Who are you?
William Shakespeare. But my friends call me Will.
I will then. Will.
I must protest. Oh,
Shakespeare? Really?
I think he might make a charming addition.
He brings a bit of fresh air to the place.
He's only a guest. We ought to at least be hospitable.
Then we'll resume. Master Shakespeare, perhaps you'd like to tell us a bit about yourself?
Well, yes. I'm sure we all have 101 questions.
Master Shakespeare speaks first.
My gracious thanks for allowing my presence amidst your ponderous personages. Methinks I have the better end of the bargain, for I stand before he who makes merry, but through jest turns men's hearts with his Huckle-Finn berry.
Huckleberry Finn.
Just so. And to be in the same chamber as the master of Sherlock Holmes, a great detective. My mind thinks that I could never conjure such sweetly clever tales of revenge and murder.
Well, it's nothing really, all formula.
And of you, Mr. Poe, what can words say? You who are imbued with 1,001 ways to picture dark and terrible. You who frighten the soul with fear. Oh, I tremble in your presence.
This guy is good. Really good.
Tell us about yourself, Master Shakespeare.
Well, you know what there is to know, and this I know truly. But should you know more than what you know, 'twould be tomfoolery.
Bravo, bravo!
Well then, we'll check your application and references, of course.
No, 'tis your pleasure, and my pain for you to do so.
Just a formality, Will.
Perhaps then, Master Shakespeare, I ought to explain a few things about Raven Society to you. We 8 and you 9 are known only to one another as an author. We left our mundane identities at the dock when we took the boat to Dickens' house. We arrived one at a time and have waited patiently in our rooms until the meeting time of midnight. We have been selected by the virtue of the fact that we love literature, perhaps more than life itself. We are recruited in the same fashion as you. The classified ad appearing only one day in the New York Times.
Wanted, a lover.
Of literature.
In author's shoes, bio and resume.
Eagerly accepted.
Serious inquiries.
Only. And because of the nature of our society, everything we do is a secret and must remain so. Therefore, Master Shakespeare, before you proceed, you must sign the following as we all have.
It reads, I, William Shakespeare, do swear to uphold the following provisos of the Raven Society.
1. I will never reveal my true identity to any member of the society, whether at Dickens' house or elsewhere.
2. I will never reveal to any outsider that I am a member of the Raven Society.
3. I will never reveal the purpose, structure, or business of the Raven Society.
4. I will never reveal the whereabouts of the Dickens house, owned and maintained by the members of the Raven Society.
5. I will never reveal the procedure for awarding the smoking gun or dagger awards.
6. I will attend the annual gatherings of the Dickens house, regardless of family or personal plans.
I agree unquestioningly to be above provisos and understand the penalty for violation one or more is to be declared permanently out of print.
Print? Well, the punishment could be worse.
Then sign.
Pray, I see no ink with which to jot my name.
We don't use ink.
We use blood, Willie, old boy. Your blood.
Oh. Well then. Happy dagger. This is thy sheath. Oh. No, out. Damn spot.
Quite all right. And now you may take a seat.
Thanks. Well, the loss of blood nearly makes me swoon.
You can just swoon on me, honey.
And now, my good friends, before we proceed, we have a treasurer's report. Miss Ronte?
Thank you, Mr. Pell. Last year, we awarded the smoking gun to a mystery entitled The Quills of Death. To date, royalties to the author have amounted to $1.2 million. What's more, a 7-figure deal with Hollywood has been signed, and it's rumored that there's a television series in the works.
People listen to the Raven Society.
They trust our judgment.
Last year, we plunged the dagger into a mystery entitled Army Corps of Engineers.
Well, fitting end.
I still wake up at night in a cold sweat thinking about that book.
Or was it your own?
I am proud to say Army Corps of Engineers earned its author $29.82 and has since been declared
Out of print.
Thank you, Miss Bronte. As you can see, our award is the literary equivalent of the Good Housekeeping Seal of Approval. What we deem worthy will sell, what we deem unworthy will not. And now, my friends, we have some correspondence. At your leisure, you shall be free to read one of the many congratulatory messages sent to the publisher of The Quills of Death. There are more positive messages here than we've ever received before. And here are the messages of dismay sent to the author of Army Corps of Engineers.
Oh, look. Someone took sympathy on the book. Ha!
The author's mother thinks her child spun gold even from straw.
We'll just have to toss it in the fire.
Well, that wouldn't be very sporty, now would it, Agatha?
It's not a game, Sir Arthur.
There you go again with your crepe hanging.
And must you be so infernally optimistic?
We've had many more negative letters before. Bags full of them.
But there's only one. It doesn't bode well.
Good lady doth make a fine point. Many voices raised in protest all sound the same, but one voice carries a terrible fury.
My candle burns at both ends. It will not last tonight. But all my foes and all my friends, it gives a lovely light.
Emily, for heaven's sake!
You were quoting Edna St. Vincent Millay.
I didn't write that.
No, woman.
She sounds like me. She's a copycat.
We've all had our copycats.
It's a sign of success.
Imitation is the highest form of flattery. You can quote me on that.
And I'm flattered. I truly am.
What's the note say, Poe?
Nothing that can't wait. I suggest we all retire to our rooms.
It isn't anything bad, is it?
Well, we can take it. We've all had our critics.
I like criticism, but it must be my way.
I'm sure it's just a harmless joke.
Well, then we'll judge it by the punchline.
Very well. To the members of the Raven Society, enjoy your steaks, enjoy your pie, enjoy them now, for you will die. The arrow will hit every bird. You shall each die by your own word.
You call that poetry?
An insult to the language.
Off with his head!
What's wrong with you people? Our lives have just been threatened.
Wes, my lady, bad poetry can kill. I'm dead already. Slain by torches, rhythm, and rhyme.
Edgar, I demand you call the police.
No, Agatha, don't you think you're overreacting?
Besides, we can't call the police. We purposely have no phones, no radio, and no way back to Cape Elizabeth until Monday morning.
Well, Agatha, this is sounding more and more like one of your books.
We'll have to sit back and enjoy.
I don't want to enjoy this. Someone's trying to get us.
Really, Emily, it's nothing more than a prank.
But what if there is someone out there?
It's possible, isn't it?
Well, there's only one way to find out. Chaps, let's go have a look. Chaps? You, Edgar, Will here, and me, of course.
Would you? We'd all feel so much better.
All right. Mr. Twain and Sir Arthur, head east around the house. Will and I will head west. We'll meet back at the main door.
Well, that sounds simple enough.
But what light through yonder window breaks?
Swear by the moon, Will, it's fall tonight.
What are you doing? Looking for something distinctive about the paper or the handwriting?
It looks very ordinary to me.
To the untrained eye, yes. But upon further inspection, you can see that none of the I's are dotted.
Lots of people don't dot their I's.
But lots do.
Me, for one. How about you, Emily?
I don't know. Oh, you're upset, dear, aren't you? No one's ever said this before.
It's only a threat, and a very poor one at that. How could anyone do away with all of us, especially by our own words?
I don't know. Oh, you have a good cry.
Get it all out of your system now, because you'll never be able to read all we've got to read the next 3 days if you've got tears in your eyes.
I'm sure you. Miss Dickinson? Miss Dickinson!
What's wrong?
Is she?
No! Not dead! I'm afraid so. Irreversibly so.
Get your hands off of me! What are you doing sneaking around up there? It's my job, you lummox. Yeah, now who are you calling a lummox?
There's supposed to be a soul on this island but us.
Just what I was told.
You must be the housekeeper.
Oh, I'm glad somebody around here's got some goddamn sense. Now that go me, or y'all be eating living onions for the weekend.
Gentlemen, please.
But what if she is the one? What one?
Send any threatening letters lately?
Only to my ex, I haven't kept up with the alimony. Don't look at me.
Gentlemen, I'm afraid something terrible's happened.
Just as I thought. No one outside.
Well, except for the housekeeper.
What housekeeper? We didn't request a housekeeper.
Look, the agency said I was hired to cook, clean, and change beds for this weekend. I've got my orders, along with the key they gave me.
You didn't know about this, Edgar.
Well, and what is this? Why y'all dressed up like fruitcakes? What is this, some kind of costume party?
This is the Raven Society. We're all famous authors.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Dost thou not recognize me, fair lady?
And who are you? Ron McDonald? Mrs. It's Mrs. Damon, even if I hated the bum. Viola Damon. And what the hell's wrong with her?
I'm afraid she's dead.
She's begun to cry.
Wiped her nose.
But how did she?
Of course not enough. Her heart broke for want of use.
Such a romantic way to go.
It wasn't romantic at all. Her handkerchief has been soaked in chloramine tea. A disinfectant easily obtainable at hospitals and medical supply stores.
The lady speaks true.
It must have just been an accident.
I'm afraid people don't normally leave hankies laying around soaked in poison on accident.
Maybe she was cleaning it and forgot to wash it out.
Really? The other part of the message said we would die by our own words.
She just blew her nose.
Oh dear. Don't you all remember?
Remember what?
She met a little Shakespeare?
Such a little thing to weep, so short a thing to sigh, and yet by trades the size of these, we men and women die.
It's all right. It's just me.
Edgar, are you trying to give an old lady a heart attack?
I beg your pardon, dear lady.
What were you doing hiding behind the couch like that?
I couldn't sleep.
So you hide behind couch.
Well, I was doing a bit of sleuthing when I heard you coming down the hallway.
Inspector Dupin at work.
And I'm looking at this marvel in all her glory.
I couldn't sleep either.
It's not characteristic of us to just roll over and play dead, is it?
Of course not. Art imitates life, not the other way around. 10 Little Indians was strictly for fun.
No conceivable way that 9 people could allow themselves to be murdered one by one.
But if you remember, there was no real sleuth among the 10 of them. They simply didn't know how to proceed.
But we do.
You invented the detective story.
Only child I ever had. And you're the grand dame of all mystery writers.
So we better make a good showing of ourselves, or our reputations will be ruined.
Have you an idea?
I hate to admit it, but Conan Doyle's overrated Holmes fellow said something about never overlooking the obvious.
I think I remember something like that. So what's so obvious?
The motive.
Of course! We sent the Dagger Award to the heart of that hideous book on the Corps of Engineers. The author's bitter for earning only a pittance for what amounted to be several months of typing, and now he wants revenge!
It's too simple for words.
What do you mean?
There's no real depth of character there. It's simple revenge. No writer worth his salt would rely on so simplistic a motive.
But Holmes said something about never overlooking the obvious.
Of course. And let me explain. Did you happen to read the piece by Sidney Rainsford in Writer's Blotter magazine last month?
I don't believe I caught that, did he?
Interesting, Mr. Poe. It was very interesting. If you recall, Rainsford wrote a best-selling first novel, Plans for Persephone, about 20 years ago.
Ah, wonderful book. I hadn't realized Rainsford had written any since.
His point exactly. Success ruined Rainsford's career. Once Plans for Persephone came out, he had nowhere to go but down. And he did. So fearful of not being able to recreate Persephone's success, he developed writer's block, lost his wife, squandered his money on every vice from gambling to drink, and in general sank into a mire of listlessness.
And you would think what happened to Rainsford.
Exactly. It happened to the authors of last year's winning novel.
And we shouldn't even worry ourselves about the author of Army Corps of Engineers.
Absolutely not. However, I can't seem to find a copy of Quills of Death anywhere. I want to get a bit of biographical information on the author.
I do believe we have a copy here somewhere. Let's see. That's funny. Could have sworn we had it.
Aha!
Wait, I do believe I got a copy in my room. I brought it in case we need it as a reference.
Would you mind going to fetch it for me immediately?
Your wish is my command.
Army Corps of Engineers by Lester Coyne. Army engineer Dirk Braddock arrives in Duval, Montana to build a dam which will ultimately flood the town out of existence. He no sooner arrives than murders begin to occur. First the mayor, then the postmaster, then the schoolmarm. Will Braddock be able to stop these heinous crimes? Or will he become a victim himself? Or will he fade out of print?
It's written by S.M. Tapin.
I'll remember an odd name. Here's a bio. S.M. Tapin has 3 passions: macaroons, Mozart, and mysteries. An expert on the Canterbury Tales, S.M. Tapin lives just west of Chicago and says, "This is my first book, and hopefully my next will be to die for."
Nothing very hopeful. We don't even know if it's a man or woman.
But we know enough. Macaroons, Mozart, and mysteries.
The Canterbury Tales.
And Chicago.
Someone's coming. suppose we're not the only ones trying to solve this mystery.
I feel like a cup of tea. Perhaps I'll pump this strange Miss Day home a bit.
But Agatha, it's 3 in the morning.
Don't you remember? We turned the clock forward so midnight wouldn't be so late. It's only 11.
Yes. Well, as long as I'm up, I'm going to go check the members' applications in the office.
But they don't contain anything about our real lives.
Still, there could be something of note.
That walk didn't do a bit of good. I still feel so alone and afraid.
Maybe a walk isn't the answer.
My head's clear. I feel perfectly chipper.
That's the difference between Americans and everybody else. You're always chipper, even when you face death by your own words.
That's the point. Whoever is bent on doing us in must know all of our works. Whoever it is must be a professor of literature or a critic or worse.
Then what can we do?
We don't leave our real lives behind when we come to Dickens' house, do we?
Not exactly. We can't return to the real world dressed like this, so we each have our clothes and other personal belongings.
Therefore, the killer might have something in his or her room which is incriminating. I propose we search the guest rooms and see what we can find.
Snoop?
But what if we're caught?
We simply don't get caught.
How do we get into everyone's rooms to look through all of the things?
I think I can solve that problem quite simply.
Where is she going?
I haven't any idea. How I wish I had her inventiveness. Everyone seems to think I patterned Joe after me. But that couldn't be farther from the truth. I'm just your typical, everyday coward.
Hurry, now's our chance!
Hark! Who wails at the gates of hell?
The female's probably spotted a mouse.
Have you seen anything, Miss Christie?
No, Miss Dagmore and I have just been having a cup of tea.
Well, then it must have came from outside. Hello. Where y'all going? Don't leave me behind.
All for one and one for all!
Why drag me here when our eyes are needed elsewhere?
Confound it, man. Can't you talk plain English?
Pray, good Falstaff, with this time for a grammar lesson, I'd be most willing to learn.
All right, look, you're not a regular, all right? And I'm thinking that maybe, all right, just maybe, Poe slipped up and let you sneak in a cell phone or something.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, Master Twain, but I have only what you see.
Well, shucks, that ain't much.
But I'm not unaccustomed to mystery.
Is that so? Well, I give the world a great mystery of Tom Sawyer.
Does that make my Richard III mere dog food?
All right, if you're so smart, what do you suppose we do about all this? Just stand around and wait for the next one to die?
It would be folly, that.
Man, you got more ways of twisting a phrase than pliers can twist barbed wire.
And from one twist, a murder will out.
What are you talking about?
If we play our cards carefully, we can outmaneuver the killer in spades.
How?
But first we must find a quiet spot where no other ears will catch the pearls that we shall exchange.
The office. It's back here, son, but just hope you have more up your sleeves than pearls.
No sign of anything.
No news is good news.
But there was a scream.
Oh, hell no! Boy, you left me out there.
We're sorry, Miss Dagmore. I thought you were right behind me.
I wasn't behind nobody.
Why don't you sit down?
And I'll get some tea.
Well, I do think I'll be retiring for the night. I am dead tired. Oh, I mean, just pushed.
One question, sir, before you go.
And what's that?
How do you feel about macaroons?
Macaroons?
You know, the cookies.
Well, I suppose I've never thought about it before. Why, do you have some? I mean, I could use for a bit of a snack.
On a scale of 1 to 10, where would macaroons fall for you?
Well, perhaps a 5. No, maybe a 6. That is, only if they're from the Pickwick Bakery. Otherwise, a 5.
Well, good night then, Sir Arthur. Pleasant dreams.
Don't let bedbugs bite my... Ooh, well, why did you have to say that? Ooh, I don't like bugs, and especially things that bite. Just no saying. Well, why don't you keep your sayings to yourself?
And you, Miss Dagon, midnight drearies. How do you feel about macaroons?
And the cookies with coconut?
Rich and delicious?
Nah, if you're allergic to coconut.
Really?
Oh, it gives me the hives. Woo! I break out like a tomato.
What about Chicago?
Oh, honey, I can't say I'm allergic to Chicago.
Here we are, just what the doctor ordered to keep the boogeyman away.
And with that, I shall retire to my room.
You don't mind me saying so. Y'all weirder than football bats. Dressing up like it's Halloween, pretending to be folks you're not.
We're trying to keep our real identities a secret.
What are you? Ashamed of who you are?
No, not at all. But do you see this?
No trophy I want to win.
It's worth millions.
Honey, that don't look like it's worth a tea cozy to me.
The book we choose to win this award will become a bestseller, and the author will make a fortune. If people knew our real identities, there'd be no end to their attempts at buying us off.
Sounds like a good ruckus to me. I'll tell you what, I let myself be bought off.
Is that how you got here to the Dickens house?
Bought off? Mm-hmm. I was called here by the agency.
What agency?
Spit Spot Housekeeping, that's what I work out of. They hire me here to cook, clean, change bed, you know, the usual cleanup after the rich folks until Monday. They also told me to take the boat from the hardware store.
Did you recognize the voice?
No, but there's nothing unusual in that. There's always somebody new with dispatch.
So you've been working in housekeeping long?
Long enough to know that I don't like being in a house where murder was committed. Where the hell the police? I know they ought to be swarming all over the place. Look, I watch Columbo. I know they ought to be dusting everything.
With no way to contact the police.
Y'all got no phone, no radio.
We sequester ourselves away for the weekend when choosing the award-winning book.
What happens if one of you tastes sick or drops dead?
We've never had to think of that. Until now.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to lock my door, stick a chair right on that doorknob I am. Y'all strange, you know that? And murder? Well, that comes with being strange. Let me wash up these things for a bit.
Oh no! Mr. Poe! Mr. Poe!
Methinks the ladies in this madhouse make me much ado about nothing.
There you are, Master Shakespeare.
Unfortunately.
If I didn't know any better, I would swear you were running away from me.
No, fair lady, you just startled me, that's all. I hardly expected to see such a fair lass in my chamber.
It's the 19th century, Master Shakespeare. We women are a bit more liberated than those of your day.
What did good Queen Bess start?
You know I've always loved your work.
And I've always loved my fans.
I'm your #1 fan.
So do I love thee more than all the others.
I hope so.
Ah, but my love is like a rose. A red, red rose, newly sprung in spring. You know how roses are. They bloom and they wither in the span of an hour.
An hour's good.
But, fair lady, you have a husband.
I'll never tell.
I am a man of honor.
Is that why I found this in your chamber?
Well, where'd you get that?
Don't you mean from whence came this incriminating bit of newsprint?
Give me that.
Shall I read it to you?
Go ahead, I don't know anything about it.
Dr. Hilda Feinbrunner, noted expert on the poet Emily Dickinson, shall present a talk on the reclusive 19th century writer Wednesday, February 23rd at the New York Literary Guild.
Blah, blah.
You underlined the date and time. Did you go here, Dr. Feinbrenner?
I don't remember.
Well, I'm sure she was as dull as dishwater. But surely you'd remember going to hear her as recently as February.
Listen, I don't know anything about that scrap of paper. For all I know, you've planted it.
I can save it for the authorities when they arrive.
Well, no, it's hardly evidence of anything.
Unless Dr. Feinbrenner was our dear, sweet-hearted Emily Dickinson.
As evidence, 'tis slimmer than a milkmaid's waist.
I'm willing to make it slimmer.
At what cost?
Write me a sonnet of love.
A sonnet? Oh, fair lady, I could write an epic about how I feel about you.
Pray, an epic is too bold, wherein many are wounded and die.
Ooh, precisely.
No, merely a sonnet. Words of love.
Fine. A sonnet. What about that?
Belongs best in the fire. When the sonnet is complete.
Yours is my command. Oh, where dost thou draggeth me?
Research, Will!
Look! See for yourself, it's gone!
So it is.
Someone took the dagger.
This is terrible. The killer said we die by our own words.
I hate to think of how many victims I've bumped off with the dagger.
Why didn't I kill Mary Rose with the blunt object or maybe a horse cart?
But fortunately, everyone else here has used a dagger.
Well, that doesn't bring us any closer to knowing who the killer is.
The files. Anything in the files?
I haven't had a chance to look yet.
Listen here. Writing mysteries has made me a fortune, but has proven less satisfactory than other forms of expression.
Who's that?
Conan Doyle. He never could reconcile that Sherlock Holmes was his finest hour.
The music of Mozart puts me at ease, clears my mind, refreshes my creative powers.
Who's that?
Miss Alcott.
Listen here. I did say I never met a man I didn't like, but I should have added, unless he was from Chicago.
Let me guess. Mark Twain.
Listen.
Someone's playing Beethoven's Fifth.
It's not Beethoven's Fifth.
Well, it's not his ninth.
It's Mozart.
Mozart?
We must find Miss Alcott immediately.
Sir Arthur! What is it?
The band.
It's not a band, it's an orchestra playing Mozart.
The band.
What bitch band? Steve Miller, Dave Matthews, Smashing Pumpkins!
The speckled band units. Speckled.
Edgar! Think Sir Arthur's dead!
Mr. Twain? That's hardly a proper greeting.
5 in the morning, no greeting is proper.
It isn't really 5 in the morning. The clock is 4 hours past, remember?
You best be getting back to sleep.
Where are you going?
Miss Alcott, I don't intend to lie around in that lumpy bed. Wait for the killer to come drop the dagger into me.
What can you possibly do?
I'm getting off this island.
It's impossible. There's no boat and none due until Monday.
Precisely.
Ah! You're not even dressed! I shall avert my eyes!
For crying out loud, woman. 2 of our 8 are dead already, and you're standing on modest principle?
And if you attempt to get off this island, there will be 3 of us gone.
I'd rather go on my own terms than wait to get stabbed to death.
The dagger might not be meant for you.
No? Perhaps you're not familiar with the graveyard scene in Tom Sawyer. In that same instant, the half-breed saw his chance and drove the knife to its hilt in the young man's breast.
But then you have nothing to worry about.
And how do you figure?
The killer would need a young man's breast. You're about as old as the 7 hills of Rome.
Well, I don't think the killer's sticking that close to the story.
Then I ought to be terrified as well. I've written some ghastly mysteries filled with blood and gore.
Then join me. We'll run off together.
Mark Twain and Louisa May Alcott escaping together. Whatever would the tabloids say.
As long as they don't carry my obituary, they can say I'm a creature from Mars.
Tell me you've got a raft hidden somewhere along the shore?
Raft nothing. I'm swimming.
It's well over a mile between here and Cape.
You know, many a summer afternoon I've swum back and forth across the Mississippi. Let me tell you, that river put up more fight than a wild boar with a mosquito down its ear.
The current is dangerous between here and the mainland.
No more dangerous than staying in this house one more minute.
Please, Mr. Twain, listen to reason.
That's what I'm doing, woman. If you had any reason, you'd jump in that water with me.
No, I couldn't. I dread water.
Suit yourself. But I have a feeling you'll be sorry.
What an awful thing to say.
Yes. But I'll tell you, there's something awful in this house. Now, either come with me, or let me leave in peace. Very well, Miss Alcott, suit yourself. When I get back to the mainland, I'll alert the authorities.
Mr. Twain? Mr. Twain!
Oh, by heaven, that woman has more powers of persuasion than a lioness predicting her clothes.
Where's Horace now, Will? One more kiss and it will be morning. Will? Art thou in thy chamber?
God, who goes there?
It's just I, Master Shakespeare. But what's happened to you?
Well, it would stand to reason that the creator of Frankenstein would be his better in every way.
She tried to get her claws into you.
I escaped just in time. But what are you doing awake at such an hour? I'm trembling with fear.
Awful. Mr. Twain dove into the sea in an attempt to save his life.
Well, surely that will end it.
He was afraid whoever stole the dagger would come for him because Injun Joe killed the doctor and Tom Sawyer with a knife.
He's got nothing to be concerned with as compared to me. I've slain no less than 38 men and several women with knives and swords in my long career.
I wouldn't say that too loudly.
I fear you're right.
Come, let me mend the tears in your clothing. You will rest easier with no breezeway in your sleeves and pantaloons.
And how can I know that I can trust your humor, Miss Alcott?
Mr. Shakespeare, you insult me. I have no designs on any man, least the likes of you. You Renaissance beasts are foul to smell, ugly to listen to, and being forced to look upon you makes one wish you were blind. Now come along.
Well, I'm at your service, reasonable lady.
The band. The speckled band. Whatever could he have been referring to?
I know now why I should have read one or two Sherlock Holmes tales.
Terribly hard, since they didn't come out until 40 years after your death. I'm the one at my typewriter without a ribbon. I know I've heard the idea before, but it just keeps snaking away from me.
Funny. He had nothing much in his room aside from the books, his toothbrush, hairbrush, and shaving supplies.
And this locked box,
I wonder what's in it.
does it shake?
Well, there's something inside. It's almost as if it's alive.
Alive?
Yes, I can feel something almost moving about on its own.
We've got to open it.
Let me try my keys.
I did find something interesting while going over the files.
What was that?
Sir Arthur seemed to have lived in Chicago. He mentioned speaking to a few literary groups there.
But
There's one. His recipe for macaroons came out in the December issue of Gourmet magazine.
well, that's all well and good, but
We know mysteries were his passion, which leaves only how he feels about Mozart.
and the Canterbury Tales. Oh, but it doesn't matter.
Does it matter Why not?
Because Sir Arthur's dead.
Oh, dear. All right. But could he have killed Miss Dickinson?
And another of us has killed Sir Arthur.
Dominoes!
Oh, I always hated that game. Ah, I got it.
Whatever could he have kept in that box?
Alas, where might mine soul find sanctuary from the ruby lips and wanting arms that surround me? For in truth I am a shy fellow, who would like nothing more than to be left alone.
Master Shakespeare! Master Shakespeare? I know you round in here. Perhaps you've gone to your room. I shall seek thee in there.
Oh, this keeps up, there won't be enough left of me to write Hamlet.
Hello? Anybody there? I thought I heard someone. Is there someone behind that chair? I don't know what you're hiding, but I'm not afraid of you or anything. Ah!
It's all right. My lord, you done killed her. No, I didn't. I haven't done a thing.
Don't you see?
See what?
It's just like Romeo and Juliet.
Sovereign, here lies Romeo, dead, and Juliet, dead before, born, and new killed.
Mr. Poe won't have a bit of luck today. The sea's a tempest tossed.
Not even the most well-trained of swimmers would have been able to stay alive here to Cape Elizabeth.
I'm afraid Master Twain had a bit too much of the roundness about the middle.
Oh, Mr. Two-Timer has a comment.
Pray, Miss Shelley, I have not sought this attention that's been thrust upon me.
But you've been mighty good about basking in it.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you are the lovelier and livelier. A rose in a garden of weeds.
Well, as long as you put it like that.
Master Shakespeare, I have made you a sampler of your most famous phrase for you to hang right in your room. It reads, to be or to be.
I think you left something out.
Drat, I can't do anything right.
Fair lady, I will revel in your handiwork's beauty and overlook its flaw.
Pretty hard when it sticks out like a sore thumb.
Oh, look, Mr. Poe has found something.
Mohammed! God, woman, don't scatter my wits with your tint and emulation.
That's Mr. Poe's word, well, if you recall, not yours.
Well, I'm sorry, honey. I just can't seem to stop scaring the wits out of me.
It is a long time before wits fail me. Scare me one time too many and I'll be food for the worms.
Oh, don't go saying such things. Besides, there's no way anybody can get scared to death.
Isn't there?
I would think one confronted with their worst fear might die of shock.
Well, I'll keep my distance away from you, Mr. Shakespeare. And how is Mrs. Bronte?
So embarrassed she won't come out of her room.
Oh, no.
She's not embarrassed about our thinking she'd become a victim.
She's embarrassed because, well,
She was making advances on Master Shakespeare here. Advances of the heart.
Oh, now, don't that be it all? Had I known what ladies these would be, I'd never have worn my best ruffle pantaloons.
No one says you have to keep them on. You could change.
but we cannot change, Miss Shelley. You know this. The Raven Society has no members but we authors. And we authors only.
But with these murders, everything's going to be different.
Not necessarily.
What are you saying?
Mr. Poe and I have been discussing what's to come Monday morning.
Well, I say we may fast truck to the boat and blow this place.
Oh, Master Shakespeare, you do know the vernacular.
Master Shakespeare here, of course, is right.
But what about the
The bodies, they do cause a problem, but we have a plan and it's quite simple.
How simple.
Of course, first we must figure out who killed Sir Arthur and Miss Dickinson. And then we'll lock the culprit in the pantry to be discovered with the bodies, leaving them little to do but confess.
But what if we the innocent?
By the time the authorities arrived, we the innocent have already left the same way we came, each in a boat separately. We have returned to our real lives, and since not one of us knows each other's real identities, there'll be no way anyone can question or implicate us.
That's clever, I like that.
But what about our applications and the minutes of the Raven Society?
Mr. Poe has committed them to memory and has destroyed the paper trail.
Mr. Poe, what have you found?
He's dead, isn't he?
I'm afraid so.
Miss Bronte, feeling better?
Oh, I'm sorry I fell on you like that.
My fault, honey, Tyler. That rolling pin's got a mind of its own.
Don't mention it, please.
Oh, you poor dear man.
Thought you were too embarrassed to come in here.
Well, I had to know what Mr. Poe found.
Nothing very helpful. His bathing cap, his robe, and these.
An old rat.
I'm afraid these are his bathing shorts.
Shredded to bits? By what?
A sea monster. He's been devoured by a sea monster.
Most likely a great white shark.
Personally, I'd have thought a shark would take one bite of that crusty old codger and spit him out.
Mr. Twain was probably a single gulp for the beast. Poor man.
And it's just like the drowning in Tom Sawyer. They'll die by our own words.
So why did I have to be so prolific? This maniac can kill me in 100 different ways.
Don't fear, Master Shakespeare. We have made progress in our investigation.
What progress?
Well, we never didn't do it.
Those who are dead.
Precisely. So that leaves only those in this room.
Which means you must never leave this room alone.
Excellent idea.
We go 2 by 2.
Which means an innocent victim is paired up with the killer.
And then we go 3 by 3.
What if there are 2 killers?
That's absurd.
Then we'll have to stay here.
In this room? Till Monday morning?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, when we get hungry, we can go to the kitchen.
And when we need to go to the bathroom?
That's a problem.
Then I put it to you like this. This is the only safe place. The only place where we're sure no one can get to us. Should you need to leave for anything, do so at your own risk.
anybody want something to eat, we can go out to the kitchen and scramble up some eggs.
That sounds wonderful.
Even I could use a spot of tea.
I'm starved.
I'm crushed.
How about you, Agatha? Agatha! She was right here when I dozed off. Nick,
She's finished the whole sweater.
she must have stayed awake.
Watching us. Waiting for the right moment.
What is it?
I've been stabbed.
I'll go get some water, some towels.
Miss Alcott,
How could you?
Is there anything I can do?
Will, come kiss my dying lips.
Miss Alcott, you were leaning on my belt buckle. It's got this sharp thing, and it makes a heck of a statement.
So I was. Honestly, you are the most over-the-top, ultra-dramatic nitwit I've ever met. Haven't you ever heard of keeping a stiff upper lip? You'd never have survived the Blitz. That's for certain.
Miss Shelley,
That's right, a colonial.
Oh, well, I knew she was faking it.
I'm sorry. I'm so worried. If Miss Christie, if she's, it'll be the end of us all.
I fear Miss Alcott's right. We must find Agatha.
but we aren't to leave this room.
Circumstances have changed.
Mrs. Dangwon's already left to get water and bandages.
Everyone select a weapon.
A weapon?
Sophie, let's defend yourself.
I have never touched a weapon before in my life. Now's the time, Cookie.
Miss Alcott, that's hardly her to defend yourself with.
Mr. Poe, the pen is mightier than the sword. What was that?
Who was that?
I'll go that way and find out.
I'm going outside.
Oh dear, you might be killed.
I'll go this way.
So why?
It's not smart to go looking for danger. I will stay right here. And it can find me all by its own.
Okay, Mr. Poe, please. Miss Dangwon. I know you're the master of suspense and terror, but I beg if you don't strike me down with that thing. Miss Dangwon, get up. I have no intention of killing you. You don't. I just wanted to find out why you screamed and I took a weapon as defense.
I burned my hand on the hot water.
Quite all right. Miss Alcott wasn't harmed in the least.
She wasn't stabbed.
Not at all. She'd be leaning against Master Shakespeare's belt buckle.
I was afraid that horrible dagger had found its way between those shoulder blades.
Terribly difficult, considering I have the dagger.
Oh no, she gonna kill us!
Drop it before you kill anyone else.
Miss Alcott, really?
Drop it.
I can't, you're holding me too tightly.
A likely story.
Let go!
But you spin about and stab me not on your life.
Miss Alcott, I'll let in Miss Christie. And if she tries anything, I'll let her have it.
All right then.
Now let's go.
What ruckus be this?
Miss Christie was trying to kill us all.
She be the killer.
I do not be the killer, Master Shakespeare.
She had the dagger.
Which I found. Where? A most unlikely spot.
Good lady, speak fast and true. How came you about this dagger?
As the light faded from evening to night, and you all faded into sleep, I felt I couldn't just sit. I had to do something. A crime cannot wait to be solved. A killer must be pursued relentlessly, not allowed to come to justice on his own terms. So, I determined to leave the room by myself and search the rooms of the victims.
A brave deed.
We thought about doing that last night.
But you were so taken by Master Shakespeare here that you each altered your plans, correct? All we wanted to do was get him alone.
Flattery will get you everywhere, Miss Bronte.
Unfortunately, flattery never solved a crime.
So, where did you find the dagger?
In your room, Mr. Poe,
My room?
under your pillow.
Under my... That's impossible!
That's exactly where it was.
Agatha, you know me better than that.
Mastery of mystery and terror. I read all them tales of yours. People getting walled up, cut in half, buried alive.
You're known for your depraved, almost insane writing.
Who better to get into the mind of a killer?
Yes, and you've been in charge this entire time, and thereby have had access to every secret.
You could have put the poison-soaked handkerchief in Emily Dickinson's pocket.
And since you got here first, you could have hidden the poison and the snake that killed Sir Arthur before any of us arrived.
Preposterous! The stakes are so yucky.
Yes, but you never had to touch it or even see it. You hid the box, and then, at the right moment, you probably set it on Doyle's bed, so that in his curiosity, he would open it.
Your imaginations are running away with you.
Poor Mr. Twain.
You can't say I trained the great white shark named him and released the shark on cue.
No, but you easily could have convinced him to jump in the water and swim to shore.
You are daft, woman.
No, I'm not. Mr. Twain was subject to any type of flattery. He was like a dog, and flattery was like a bone.
All you'd have to do is say, I bet you can't swim from here to Cape Elizabeth and get help and save us all. And he would.
Yes, for a good cigar, he'd do anything.
I never spoke to him about it.
It's no use denying it.
I can see that.
Mr. Poe, why? Why would you want to kill us all and destroy the Raven Society in such a terrible way?
Oh, don't look at me! Ask Miss Know-It-All here!
Why'd he do it? Yes, you must have something figured out.
What terrible motive moved his menacing heart?
There, I'm afraid you've got him.
But you can't argue with the other facts.
There are no other facts other than the dagger was supposedly found in my room.
Supposedly!
What? Why are you all so trusting in Miss Christie? She easily could have taken the dagger herself and simply saying she found it under my pillow now.
That's right! Miss Alcott, you know me better than that.
The only fact here is that Miss Christie had the dagger.
Which I found! Just like I found Mr. Twain's suitcase all nicely packed up in the corner of his room.
But what does that matter?
He took the time to pack all of his belongings before jumping in the water.
But you yourself said he had all the confidence in the world that he saved himself and us.
But in the pocket was a plane ticket to Belize.
Belize?
Whose name was on the ticket?
Sam Clemens.
What does that prove?
I don't know.
Maybe he's a traveling salesman or something?
But a man fleeing for his life wouldn't take the time to pack up all of his belongings nicely, as if he were to return for it later. Would he?
Well, the old crew's gone, so we ain't gonna never know.
Speaking of God,
Where's Miss Shelley?
She grabbed that sword.
And went outside.
Miss Shelley! Miss Shelley!
and nothing could have happened to her.
And why not?
Because we're all in this room.
That's right. So we'll stick together and find her. Let's all check that way first.
Togetherness is a lovely thing, but aren't we overdoing it a bit?
You don't still have that dagger, do you, Miss Christie?
No, but who knows what we've each got up our sleeves.
Oh. Oh. So, you must have thought you were dealing with a bunch of idiots. You never thought one of us would find the cell phone you left lying so carelessly about? Well, you'll be sorry when I get the police out here. Oh, bother, low battery. But like a fool, you left an adapter. Now, just to find an outlet. Odd house. All the outlets are behind furniture. Aha!
Miss Shelley!
Oh, we're glad to see you.
What are you doing?
Sticking together!
Well, no need.
What have you got there?
A cell phone. I found it in the killer's room.
How do you know it was the killer's room?
Who but the killer would plan ahead and have a cell phone in case
Y'all people never see so amazing this old woman. Y'all so deductible.
Whose room was it in?
Did you realize that P.S. I use love as an anagram for evil spouse? That's so clever! But we don't need riddles now.
We need answers. Whose room was the phone in?
You'll know as soon as I plug this in and call the police.
What are you doing there?
Only out what I can find. The battery's dead.
Wait! Miss Shelley! No!
It's just like that terrifying scene in Frankenstein.
When the monster comes alive.
She was an electrifying writer.
This way.
If only she'd have told us whose room she found the phone in.
But she did, in her own puzzling way. Dr. Frankenstein had all the pieces there in front of him. He just had to put them together to make them come alive.
Oh, surely you jest.
I wouldn't have said it if I didn't mean it. You have the cutest hair I've ever seen.
Well, yours isn't so bad either. I mean, where'd you get these beautiful curls?
Oh, Master Shakespeare, what of my curls? Are they less tempting?
Oh. Is it possible for three people to be more banal than you? I tell Miss Chrissy can concentrate with all this jibber-jabber going on.
Don't bother my word, Mr. Poe. All right if I do wash up these dishes?
Well, you can't go into the kitchen alone.
Anybody want to come with me?
Just leave the dishes, Miss Danglon.
But everything's gonna get crusted up and then you'll never come home.
There are more important things in life than dirty dishes.
My dear Jane Eyre knew the power of passion.
Bother, she was a ninny compared to my Joe.
My Jane Eyre could outpassion your weak-willed little Joe any day.
The words of love, like drops of dew, shall cleanse the heart and spirit, as my soul is cleansed looking upon you. Perfect.
It's no use!
Scared me out of my wits.
Sorry, Miss Danglon.
What's no use?
Final clue to the puzzle.
Well, if I had known you was just doing a puzzle, I probably wouldn't have dropped what I did.
But it's not just any puzzle.
You're speaking in riddles.
If I had solved it, I'd know who the killer is.
Well, surely your Miss Marple or Perot would have figured something out by now.
We can't all be as smart as our creations. I could never play piano half as well as Bella.
But we can still make beautiful music.
You at your trio, Master Shakespeare.
Yes. Yes, we've got to do something to keep our minds off all of this. Music, entertainment, let's put on a play.
What?
Seems almost disrespectful.
In ancient times, it was seen as a sign of respect to reenact the lives of those dearly departed.
That might have been true for cave people and the like.
I agree, Miss Danglon. It's a terrible taste.
But, Will, you put plays within your plays, and sometimes at very awkward moments.
I thought my little Pyramus and Thisbe sketch was an excellent taste as a wedding gift for Theseus and Hippolyta.
But there was that piece in Hamlet.
Oh, but that one was...
It, too, was in excellent taste. And perhaps Miss Christie's right. A bit of entertainment would while away the hours before bedtime.
We aren't really going to our rooms, are we?
I wouldn't sleep a wink if I were alone.
Perhaps by the true midnight, we'll have no more fears.
Alas, Lady Fair, midnight is that bewitching hour at which evil flies on the wings of moonlight.
Not tonight, Master Shakespeare. And you, who have so much experience, can play the part.
All right then. What part am I to play?
A man, middle-aged, just over the hill.
Wait, an actor needs his prop. So, what's the story, Maury?
It begins weeks ago, perhaps months ago. You are a professor of, let's say, literature at, let's say, Wartburg College. You have spent years correcting mundane student themes that are just becoming worse and worse. You're at the point of pulling your hair out. And then the phone rings. It's a publisher. The publisher of Army Corps of Engineers. At first, you don't want to talk to him. You're afraid. Because aside from being a professor, you're also a member of the Raven Society, which ruined the publisher's book. But then he tells you what he wants. He wants you to write a story. He promises you a very big advance. The advance is more money than you make in a year. You ask him what the book is about. He responds, the Raven Society. The publisher says he wants the truth. He wants to destroy the group. And that is when you pull both of your oars out of the water. What better way to ensure success for your story than if all the members of the society are found dead after their annual meeting? And you get to write about it from first-hand experience. You don't tell the publisher this, of course, but knowing the incredible publicity that will come with the murders, your book is sure to be a success. So, along with it comes the TV appearances, the lectures, fame, and fortune. No more students' themes.
Agatha, are you sure?
Let her continue.
We've been sold out for a book deal?
It's poetic justice, isn't it?
So, you arrange the details. You read each one of our stories. You deviously select your modus vivendi from our own words. A poisoned handkerchief for Emily Dickinson, a snake bite for Sir Arthur, electrocution for Mary Shelley, perhaps being buried alive for Mr. Poe, strangulation for myself, a sword wound for Master Shakespeare, a disease for Miss Alcott, and fire for Miss Bronte.
How horrible.
I don't like this play. I don't like it at all.
Poetic justice? I wonder. Your first step was to send letters to the Raven Society. That would put the victims on edge. The first murder was the easiest, because no one suspected what was coming. You simply placed the handkerchief in Miss Dickinson's pocket, knowing she was a very frail woman prone to fits of tears. She was also of ill health, so you knew one whiff of chlorine tea would kill her. The second was equally as simple. You simply took the snake and its box to Sir Arthur's room, placed it on his bed, and removed the lock. When he entered, he merely had to open the box, and just like Dr. Roylett in Conan Doyle's The Adventures of the Speckled Band, he was killed by the swamp adder's bite.
Will! Somebody do something! Help!
No need. Oh, he thinks I'm a better actor than I can give him credit for.
Of course, stealing the dagger and placing it in Mr. Poe's room was a nice attempt of throwing us off.
Might I remind you that we were doing some sleuthing and not taking this all lying down?
Then came the most important part of your plan, your escape. You had to escape because you had plenty to write about. And to make sure no one could accuse you of the murders, you had to leave before they were all committed. So, you swam off, ostensibly to obtain a rescue party. You packed up all of your belongings neatly so you could return for them and in the pocket was a plane ticket to Belize, for it was there that you would write your story. You would be free from the long arm of the law, and since you already got paid in advance, you would live like a king.
You are talking about Mr. Twain?
He's the killer?
Ah, the all-American humorist.
And the joke's on us. It was so obvious.
But tarry a moment longer. Mr. Twain fled last night. We presume he's been food for a shark, and yet Miss Shelley matters faded a short while ago.
Of course. For his plan to work, he couldn't do it alone. So,
Well, that's silly. None of us would have helped El Coop.
but one of us did. The accomplished would finish all the murders, and once they were done, they would return to the mainland completely undetected.
How?
In a boat. There are little caves and inlets along the east edge of the island. If we search now, we would find it, I'm sure of it.
But which of us is the accomplice?
That's the clue Miss Shelley gave us, just before her death.
I didn't hear no clue.
Perhaps you weren't listening. She said, P.S. I use love is an anagram for evil spouse.
What's an anagram?
A word when scrambled becomes another word.
Or a name when scrambled becomes another name.
So Poe could become Epo.
That doesn't mean a thing.
Or Alcott could become Cottle.
No, I've never heard of that.
What if Viola became Olivia?
That's right.
At least that one makes sense.
That sounds like baloney if you ask me.
What if Dangmorn became Langdon?
Olivia Langdon?
Dear me.
Wait, who's Olivia Langdon?
Mark Twain's wife.
Let go of me! Let go of me!
I'm afraid you've got some explaining to do.
I'm just a cleaning lady.
Impossible! Mr. Poe gave us his word that we weren't to be disturbed by anyone.
I got a call.
From who? The police will check that out. They'll find out that there was no call, which is exactly what you and your husband wanted. There's no sign you've ever been on this island.
I was ordered here by Spit Spot Cleaning Service.
Then how did you get here? I was the last one to arrive on the boat last night, and Al, the owner of the hardware store, who runs the boat, said he was pretty glad of it, because he was going to hitch the hay as soon as he returned to Cape Elizabeth.
You had to come on a boat that's hidden, so you could leave when you accomplish all the murders.
I want a lawyer.
You'll have plenty of time for that when we arrive at the mainland.
Yes, we can take your boat.
Why not exactly?
Y'all honestly think I'd help any one of you? Y'all a bunch of worthless, brainless idiots who parade around thinking you're so important with your big awards. Well, let me tell you something. You don't go get any key from me.
It won't matter.
If we have to wait here until Monday morning, you'll be the only one left when when the police arrive. You'll have to explain everything to them.
We'll all be long gone by then.
Back to the real world where no one here knows who we are.
I do know you shall be most comfortable in the pantry.
Pantry? You wouldn't dare. There ain't no windows in there.
Precisely. No way for you to get out until they let you out.
I'll help you, Poe, as best I can.
Y'all ain't gonna get away with this. You'll pay.
I knew there was something odd about her from the start.
Her arrival was just too convenient.
How did you ever figure this all out? You're absolutely brilliant.
It took a lot of inductive thinking and intuitive reasoning. We authors are brilliant. Of course, I broke into her room while she was up here sleeping last night and removed anything somewhat incriminating, such as a bottle of disinfectant containing chloramine tea, a receipt from Bob's pet shop for one swamp adder, and a radioelectrical conductor that electrifies anything that it's plugged into.
Well, that's the last we'll see of Miss Dangon, or Twain, or Langdon, or whatever her name is.
Yes, the ladies in very foul humor locked away in her windowless chamber.
At least she'll have plenty of potato chips to nibble on.
I suppose it's safe to retire now that she's locked up.
One would think.
What's the matter, Miss Christie?
Oh, no, not you two.
Really, Agatha? You couldn't possibly be interested in a boy.
I thought I had a chance.
All right, run your fingers through my hair, kiss my waiting lips, pull my aching arms around your waist.
If I were 60 years younger, I'd love to. But I am much older and wiser now, Master Shakespeare.
Wait, what are you talking about?
You've got a secret to tell.
I don't, you've got the killers.
Yes, we've got the killers, but murder wasn't the only game in town.
Will, what's she talking about?
'Tis Greek to me.
Do I have to tell them?
Tell us what?
This isn't William Shakespeare, after all.
But Miss Christie, there's nothing surprising about that. We're each merely playing a part.
But what if I told you his real initials were L.C.?
L.C.?
Lester Coin, perhaps?
The author of Army Corps of Engineers?
Oh no.
All right, you got me.
You wrote that hideous mystery?
You ought to be ashamed of yourself!
It wasn't exactly my best effort. A bit of typing here and there.
It needed full frontal lobotomy!
One would have thought in the beginning, Master Shakespeare, that you were here to kill us all. You have a great motive, revenge.
Oh, hardly. Yeah, the book was a failure, but I just signed a 6-figure deal with Rampton Studios in Hollywood for the movie rights.
Oh, of all the luck!
Yeah, so really, I should be thanking you. The notoriety of the award got the attention of the head of the studios, and it made him want to read the book. He loved it.
That's showbiz.
So then why are you here?
Well, I just had to see what kind of people would give their highest honor to a book like Quills of Death.
Book clubbing, intelligent, lifelong devotees of literature.
I think Master Shakespeare is about to pop our self-perceived bubble.
Yep. A friend of mine, her name is Dr. Sylvia Shelton, she told me that the name of the author, S.M. Taping, is just a pseudonym.
There's nothing unliterary about that.
A pseudonym for what?
16 monkeys typing.
Monkeys?
Yeah. Sylvia and a group of researchers were doing this experiment to see whether or not 16 monkeys randomly typing away at a computer could actually come up with a real publishable book. And they did it, of course, in about 2 years, 8 days, and 12 hours. And it was scooped up by the first publisher that could get their hands on it. And it became a bestseller when it won the Smoking Gun Award.
We awarded the trophy to
16 monkeys.
Well, at least monkeys are intelligent. Sort of. They're smarter than laboratory rats.
But there was in their biography.
Macaroons?
No, they love to eat them while typing.
To Mozart.
Creating a mystery.
What about Chicago?
Brookfield Zoo. That's where the research was carried out.
But that doesn't explain their being experts on the Canterbury Tales.
That's the worst, I'm afraid. Yeah, the monkeys were too short to reach the keyboards just by sitting on chairs. So the researchers provided copies of the Canterbury Tales for them to sit on because they were just the right height.
How dare you come here and make fools out of us!
I'm afraid we've done that to ourselves, Edgar.
Yeah.
But
How could you ever choose the Quills of Death as the winner of it?
It was the best in a plot
books. Barton Simpleweight the killer. Are you kidding me? The victim was shot. Simpleweight didn't have any hands.
Well, it was a mistake. We're human after all.
We overlook details.
Details. I wonder how many times you've screwed up in solving this case.
None. I have reason to doubt to the last action.
Oh yeah, sure, that's trusting that Mark Twain drowned, because that's how it went in Tom Sawyer. But don't you remember at the end of the book, Tom and Huck come back at their funerals?
Well, if you want to get technical.
What was that? It sounded like it came from the pantry. But you looked her up, didn't you?
Go check, Will.
No.
Well, don't look at an old spinster.
We locked Miss Daglin up tighter than random maze.
But what if Twain, like Tom Huck, isn't dead?
It's impossible. You saw his bloodied cap and shredded shorts.
Right where I left them for you to
Mr. Twain, you're alive.
flesh. I'm afraid reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated.
Traitor!
You think I turned down $500,000 out of loyalty, then you got something to learn about human nature, Poe.
But your plan is ruined.
Not at all. Right, sweetie?
Everything's come together just like it's supposed to.
What are you talking about?
Well, our boat's fueled up and ready to go. Got enough gas to get us back to Portland. I do believe we have a 9 o'clock flight to Moline, and our bags are packed and we're ready to go.
We'll be on the beach a whole day before they even find your body.
Who's to ever trace us here? You were so secretive, Edgar, that no one could ever know who else, if anyone, was on this island.
Will, save me! Save me!
No. He thinks they have a bit too much of the upper hand.
I only regret you all won't get to die in the same romantic fashion of your own victims.
Don't mind, do you, Mr. Shakespeare?
I'm afraid we'll have to be mundane about it. Just plug them off.
Please. We don't even know your real identities. There's no way we'll be able to trace you.
That would involve an element of trust.
And we don't trust nobody.
And the hard part is always to decide who we'll have to eliminate first.
I think Agatha Christie. She almost had it figured.
Yes, Agatha. Close, but no cigar.
I thought you was dead!
Don't believe everything you see.
Oh, bravo! Good on, Miss Shelley.
I don't understand. You were electrocuted.
We all saw you fall dead. And Mr. Poe and Master Shakespeare put you in your room.
Not exactly. While I was searching the rooms last night, I came across the radio-electrical conductor that would have caused Miss Shelley's death. I convinced her to play victim so Miss Daglon would think their plot was going on just as planned.
And with none of you being doctors or even wanting to get close to a dead body, well, it was a snap playing dead.
So you see, Master Shakespeare, we aren't such idiots after all.
I'll say. 16 monkeys may have fooled you, but you're sharp as a tack when dealing with colonial buffoons.
Ah, Master Shakespeare, that colonial remark was totally uncalled for. Some of us have a lot to offer, but it's better to stick closer to home.
It's important to share and share alike.
Love's labor lost, Miss Alcott.
It would seem so.
Just like the Raven Society, Mr. Poe.
Have you ever heard of the Phoenix, Miss Christie?
The bird that rises from its own ashes.
We'll meet again next year and complete our appointed duties regardless of what this charlatan has to say. And who knows, perhaps we'll add a romance category to our list of awards.
But you're temperamental, unreliable, and sickly, Mr. Poe.
We all suffer for our art.
Well, all's well that ends well.
Hey, that's my line.
help in helping the exec council get ready for this, providing materials and guidance through all of the players' activities, and especially through this play. So we really wanted to thank him and all he does, so I feel like he deserves a big round of applause.